Hi everyone, welcome to the 2020 Commissioner's Postseason Report. I'm Tony Pugh, Commissioner of the CLYC Fantasy Football League, and I'd like to welcome you all to our brand new studio. Located in Frankfort, Michigan, right outside the Crystal Lake Yacht Club. We've got a great show lined up for you all today, so let's jump right in and talk about what everyone is dying to hear about, the playoffs.
Here it is, your 2020 championship bracket. Now, if this bracket looks familiar to you, that's because it's almost the same as last year. 3 of the 4 competitors who were in the playoffs in 2019 advanced to the playoffs again in 2020. Not only that, but every single one of our championship contenders this year is a former champion. That's right, for the first time ever, that means we will have a 2-time champion. 4 contenders this year are the champions from the last 3 years, 2017, 2018, and 2019, as well as our inaugural champion from 2013. The Chilhowie Whalers reclaimed the number 1 seed and are making their first playoff appearance since 2014 after spending 4 straight years in the blue ball bracket. This team will take on the wild card winner this year, not top 10. In the other bracket, we have a rematch from last year's championship finale between the defending champion Run CMC Run and the Wuhan Bats. The best of the rest bracket this year is comprised of no teams with winning records. The number 5 seed Christian Soldiers had a 7-7 record and will take on number 8 seed Welcome to Tom and Rob's Fiesta. Number 6 seed Judge Judy also had a 500 record, and they take on number 7 ranked Game of Jones, who narrowly missed out on the playoff berth last week. In the blue ball bracket this year, we find 3 former champions. Number 12, Tony's Coronis, finds himself at the bottom of the standings this season for the first time ever after putting up a career-worst 4-10 record. He takes on Aaron in round 1, who is the only non-champion in this lineup. Number 10, Cooking with Roethlisbergers, finds himself in the blue ball bracket for the 2nd straight season after narrowly avoiding taking them home by defeating Rivard in the blue ball finale last season. Chris looks to escape the pit early up against one of the teams that has been struggling heavily lately. Number 11, Prison Mike Evans, who has put up a league-low score in 3 out of the last 4 weeks. Tom is making his first career appearance in the blue ball bracket and is hoping to avoid adding on to the family blue ball legacy.
Now, before we get into the championship matchups and our interviews with our playoff competitors, we have a special presentation we'd like to show you. Here at the CLYC Fantasy Football League, we appreciate history. It's what makes our league so prestigious and gives it such a rich background. So before we begin, we'd like to present this CLYC Fantasy Football League original short documentary about one of the most important legacies in our league. Check it out.
Let me tell you a story. A story of triumph. A story of defeat. A story of glory and joy. A story of heartbreak and pain. A story about a team so ingrained within the roots of the league that it has become synonymous with the league itself. I'm talking, of course, about the Whalers. The Whalers, one of the founding members of the league, a team started by a man who just loved football, and he wanted to make a name for himself. Eric Rivard and the Herbville Whalers quickly rose to the top, winning the championship in the league's inaugural season. The city of Herbville was overjoyed. Then, the following season, the league grew to 12 teams, and Earpville Whalers looked to defend their championship. The team was strong, but couldn't quite win their division, making the playoffs as the wild card team. But unfortunately, in the playoffs, the Whalers fell short and couldn't pull out a W in either one of their playoff games, finishing the season out in 4th. Then, in 2015, the league saw some new faces join, and the Whalers missed the playoffs for the first time. This team was determined to finish strong, winning the best of the rest bracket and finishing 5th overall. However, trouble was rumbling, bumbling, stumbling into Earpville. The city that was once on top wasn't happy that the team missed the playoffs. Increased pressure to perform led from a lot of tough decisions by management to return to the playoffs the following season. Star players, thought to be past their prime, cut, and new players were brought in to fill the void left. In the end, these decisions made out of haste and desperation hurt the team for years to come. 2016, the team not only missed the playoffs, but fell into the blue ball bracket for the first time. The city of Earpville, outraged. The team finished the season in 10th overall, a far cry from the championship season only 3 years prior. Fans demanded an explanation, but the explanation they received from team owner Eric Rivard was not what they wanted to hear.
So the Earpville Whalers, obviously, we fucking suck. We're awful. We're just shitty, and we keep fucking losing. And I'm gonna fucking lose again this week. We just suck. But we're just drinking heavily, and hopefully we'll pull it together at the end of the year here and just avoid a total collapse. But
the following year was probably the biggest blow to the organization. In 2017, the team not only fell into the blue ball bracket for the second straight season, they won the blue balls for the first time. Team owner Eric Rivard left at a loss for words in his press conferences.
Yeah, I don't know. There's really not much to say.
He was devastated and left dejected. The city of Earpville rioted. Chaos ensued. Cars were flipped. Buildings lit on fire. Fans called for Rivard to step down as a team owner and to leave the team. Ultimately, Rivard was forced to pull his team out of the city and find a new home. The team relocated to the city of Wawa Cove. However, what had hoped to be thought of as a fresh start turned out to only be more of the same, as the Wawa Cove Whalers fell into the blue ball bracket for the 3rd straight season in 2018. The Whalers wound up in the blue ball finale yet again, narrowly escaping winning the blue balls in back-to-back seasons by winning their final game and finishing the season in 11th. The next year was no better. In 2019, the Whalers fell into the blue ball bracket for not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4th straight year, appearing in the blue ball finale for the record 3rd season in a row. That year, the Whalers became only the 2nd team in league history to repeat as Mr. Blue Balls. The city of Wawa Cove had seen enough and sent a letter to the team notifying them that they were no longer welcome in the city and were being evicted. Rivard, forced to relocate the team again for the 2nd time. Heartbroken. Lost and confused, he bounced from city to city, hoping to find a new home for his team. 2020. He came to an agreement with the city of Chilhowie to bring the Whalers there to represent them in the league. Rivard was determined to end a terrible streak that had befallen the team over the last 4 years. He went to work, hiring new staff, constructing new strategies, new game plans, turning over every stone. Then, in the fall of 2020, things began to turn around. Eric was able to put together one of the best drafts in the league, leading to immediate success on the field. The team was dominant, winning early and often, shattering records on the way to its first playoff berth since 2014 after spending 4 straight seasons in the blue ball bracket. A true Cinderella story. The Chilhowie Whalers broke single-season records, scoring most points ever in the league, and tying best record any team has ever had, going 12-2. earning the number 1 seed just like they did back in 2013 when they won the championship. The last 4 years in a row, the number 1 seed has gone on to win the league championship, and the Whalers look to continue that streak. And with the season they've had,
we could go all the way.
If they were able to claim the championship this year, they would become the first ever 2-time champions in the league, bringing everything full circle. That would be a storybook ending. Now, I'd love to tell you the ending, but this story is still being written.
Wow, that was a really powerful documentary. What an incredible journey the Whalers have been on over the last few years. Now, we know that the Chilhowie Whalers have made it into the playoffs, so let's take a look at their matchup.
In our first matchup, we see number 1 Chilhowie Whalers taking on number 4 Not Top 10. Both of these former champions are also former Mr. Blue Balls and want to put their stamp on the history book as the first ever 2-time champion, as well as the first team to take home the championship after winning the Blue Balls. The Chilhowie Whalers put up a record-setting season, scoring more points than any team in the history of the league, as well as tying the league record for best single-season record. This team was dominant this season, having only one game below 170 points, and even in that game, he scored 169.6. That's the fewest points he has put up in a week all season. That is a really high floor. Not only is his floor high, but his ceiling is too. This team had 4 weeks scoring over 215 points, which is a league high. The other playoff contenders combined to only manage to do this 5 times. The Whalers scored over 200 points a league high 8 times when no other team in the league had more than 5. The Whalers are feeling very confident against their opponent this week, considering that if these two teams had played each other every week of the season, the Whalers would have won 12 out of the 14 matchups. Despite that type of performance, Not Top 10 has plenty of reason to be confident. After all, this team has really come on strong lately, having scored the second most points in the league over the last 4 weeks, thanks to the huge efforts of team star Derrick Henry. The biggest weakness that this team has is that all year they've been criticized for not having that explosiveness, having put up 0 games of 215 or higher. However, even though this team doesn't have the high ceiling that others in the playoffs do, this team has done really well at keeping a high floor, being one of only 2 teams that have 0 games scoring less than 150 points. The only problem is that the other team is the one that he's playing this week, and his floor has been even higher. This team has had many close matchups this season, with 5 games coming down to 7 points or less, so this team is no stranger to tough matchups. Against the other playoff contenders this season, Jack would have only won 12 out of his 42 matchups, so this team is certainly an underdog coming into the championship. This team may not be the favorite to win the championship or even to advance out of round 1, but there's always a chance. This team is a wild card for a reason.
Alright, cool. Now we get to my personal favorite part of the show, interviewing the playoff competitors. Now, unfortunately, due to COVID, none of them could be here to join us in person, but we have them all joining us live via video chat. Hey, yo, Reeves! I hear the Whalers are back, baby!
Let's fucking go, baby! Yeah, Chilhowie!
Hell yeah, man. It's great to have you back in the playoffs.
Boys, let's go. Regular season champion, first overall seed, going into the Crystal Lake Fantasy Football playoffs.
Now, man, after a couple heartaches, you've had to relocate the team a couple times. How's the new city treating you?
You know, just a great first year in Chilhowie for the Whalers. Super excited. Everybody in the whole city is just stoked, you know. Everybody's super stoked.
All right, now with 2020, there are a whole bunch of new challenges with COVID and everything. So how did that impact you getting to know the new city, your new staff?
COVID or not, you know, the Whalers are on top. So that's what they're saying. But, you know, big thank you to, you know, the new coaches, you know, turning around after, you know, obviously last year, which was just, just the turnaround. The fact that we've done it in one summer. We brought in Jared Van Wormer to help out with the draft, and and all the work that was put in the summer by all the way from ownership down to the guys that are filling water bottles. This is it's just incredible. It's awesome to be here.
Now, you had a pretty great draft this year that led to your success. Tell me about your team.
The team drafted this year pretty much has stayed the same. I picked up players here and there, but for the most part, my real players have been here. Kamara, Mahomes, my 2 wide receivers, Diggs and Allen, just both killing it. I've had tough injuries with Kittle and now with Gaskins late in the year here. So, a little adversity, but my team has battled through it all year.
Now, you went 12-2, which ties a league record. It's a pretty remarkable feat. But do you think you could have gone undefeated?
I had a questionable loss to Dow, and, Warren got lucky. I would have beat him that week, but his player got like 60 points. So, I mean, it's been pretty much a great season. There's nothing I can really complain about.
All right, now you mentioned Warren there, and he's the defending champ, and he's said many times that the playoffs run through him. So what do you have to say about that?
Warren's a little pussycat.
Well, that pretty much sums it up. So do you think you can win it this year?
This is our year, boys. Whalers year. Let's fucking go.
What's your motivation?
Hopefully getting some pussy.
Oh, I'm sure you'll get that.
The motto, baby. Get that grandma pussy.
All right, well, thanks for joining, man. Good luck in the playoffs.
One love, boys.
All right, well, up next we have Jack Hutchinson joining us. He's Eric's opponent this week and got into the playoffs by winning the wild card. Jack, thanks for joining us. What's up, man?
Thanks for having me, Commissioner. I wanted to start off by saying 2020 has been an absolute shit show. Much like Warren's dating life, we have spent way too much time this season praying for no one to test positive.
Bazinga!
That being said, one good part of this season was me managing to squeak into the playoffs by narrowly beating Aaron. It was probably for the best, though, since I think that was the first time in his life that Aaron has finished second.
Bazinga!
Damn. All right, well, you just heard from your opponent. Talk about your matchup.
In the first round, I play Rivard. He's the number 1 seed and statistically the most likely to win this year, thanks to his stacked team. I was surprised to see Rivard draft a young quarterback like Mahomes, though, since we all know Rivard has a preference for the veteran talent.
Bazinga!
If I get the chance to play Chris in the finals, I'm not too worried, though. His team has slowly declined the last few weeks, and much like the Rams, Chris thought that anyone worth anything needed to move out of St. Louis just to end up too big for their britches and realized they should have just stayed put.
Bazinga!
Anything else you have to say?
To wrap up, I want to thank Commissioner Tony for all the ball busting and whip cracking he does to pull this league off. I'm also excited to watch Tony win the Blue Ball Trophy. That way you can display it with his other Blue Ball trophies, such as sending late night texts to girls on Bumble asking if they're still up,
Bazinga!
DMs being left unread,
Bazinga!
and his pile of crusty socks.
Bazinga!
Looking forward to being the first 2-time champ. Cheers, boys.
I don't know what you're talking about. All right, well, I guess, thanks for joining us, Jack.
Our other championship matchup is a rematch from last season's championship finale between defending champion Run CMC Run and the number 3 seed Wuhan Bats. The defending champ has put up the second most points this season, including currently holding the honors for most points scored in a single week by putting up 243.5 points in week 2. This team has also put up 3 games with over 220 points, which is the most by any team in the league. Run CMC Run has not only been explosive, but also has a high floor, currently having the second fewest games below 170 this season. Most of the team's offensive starters are still the players he drafted, the only exception being his tight end. This team has not had to make any big free agency moves this season to stay on top, which has proven greatly beneficial. Not having to focus on the offensive side of the ball has allowed this team to focus on the defensive players, who most were acquired during free agency. Warren has done a fantastic job building his defense, as 7 out of 8 of them currently rank in the top 5 in their respective position. The Wuhan Bats may not look like the dominant team we are used to from Chris over the last couple of years, but that doesn't stop this team from being scary. This team was dominant when it needed to be, winning 5 out of the 6 division games, which is what drove this team to the playoffs, since his record against the rest of the league was a mediocre 4-4. Another team that had a good draft, Chris drafted all of his current offensive starters and shot out of the gate in the first half of the season before running into a bit of a rough patch through the middle part of the year, before finally putting up some hit-or-miss weeks at the end of the season. This team can be deadly, but it can also fall short at times. It has been the most inconsistent of all of our playoff contenders, so the question will be, which Bats will we get, Jekyll or Hyde?
All right, now we go to the defending champ himself, coming to us live all the way from Arizona, Mr. Warren Black, ladies and gentlemen.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. Every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up. And they stay there, and they say yeah.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. I'm pleased to announce that, Your Highness Warren Black is here.
Well, I'm glad you were able to join us. Now, you're here for your 5th playoff appearance, which ties a league record set by yours truly. How does it feel?
It feels really nice to be in this, this environment again. I mean, I love playoff football. This is what I'm born to do. I mean, I'm legitimately the greatest of all time. I've said that before, and, it's playing out to be true.
So have you enjoyed having the trophy over the last year?
Just loving this trophy. It's been sitting here all the time. It's nice. It stares at me and we make sweet nothings to it. It's just hard not to stare at this thing because it's so beautiful. I mean, do you guys see it? Because it's perfect.
Talk to me about your season.
10-4 this year. Felt really good about it. But, I guess there's unfinished business. I don't know. You could just send me the Venmos now, Eric, Mr. Commissioner. It feels, because it's already in the bag, 10-4 this year. Was expecting to do maybe 2 more wins, but it's all right. Lost to some inferior competition, but that's all right because, I locked up playoffs, 4 or 5 weeks ago. Eric Franco was just talking shit about how, he was going to come for the playoff spot, knock me out, which is the biggest bullshit of all time.
Okay, tell me about your upcoming matchup.
I guess, I'm playing Chris. Is that his name? Okay. Playing Chris, what is he 8-6 or something like that? Just a dog shit season. He started off hot and kind of fizzled out at the end. Kind of seems like that's what he does. It's like watching him play fantasy football is kind of like watching him, watching girls basketball. It's just trash. It's just bad. Kind of slowed up at the end, but last week of the season, I put up 203 points, and Tony was talking shit about that, in his last, post or whatever the fuck it was. I didn't even read it. I just knew that I was better than everyone else.
Okay, now some will say you only made the playoffs because you were in an easy division. What do you say to that?
Yeah, going back, looking at the division, maybe our division or my division wasn't the best, but I did exactly what I needed to do. I'm trying to think who was Tony. Tony was in my division. He had a really tough season this year. Seems like that's been the case for him for the past 2 or 3 seasons now, kind of just the bottom dweller. Kind of really acts like Cam Newton, talks about how great he was in the past, but now he's just a bottom dweller, just, sucking on everyone else's leftovers. It's kind of gross. I think he's in the Blue Balls trophy.
All right, what's your message to the league?
Sorry, I'll go through everyone that I need to talk shit about. Tony sucks. Franca, you have a loud bite or bark, but not really any bite. I crushed you last game of the season. Felt really good. So I guess what I want to say is, dude, fuck you all. Just give me my money and I'm ready to go. Scott, number 1 overall, picks McCaffrey, supposed to win the whole league, and literally does exactly what he does every single year and just blows it because he's legitimately the worst fantasy football player I've ever seen. Same with his brother, the Gosnell brothers this year. Just, I don't see it, man. You guys should probably just drop out of the league. Let's get some better competition in here. Will Aarons, I think his name is. Also just, he's never going to get even close to this trophy, which is the funniest thing because he thinks he's the best of all time. But everyone knows I am. My name's going to be stuck right on that thing again. It's going to feel good. So I just think that I'm going to walk through the playoffs like I've done every other year. I mean, it's just simple. I think that you should probably rename this trophy, Warren Black Championship Trophy, because I'm going to be on this trophy probably way more than everyone else.
What about the other championship competitors?
Eric Vard, maybe a threat, whatever. Jack barely made it, so, I mean, good for him, I guess, but it's just going to be a quick out for him. He's probably going to be fighting for, 4th place, if he's lucky. Definitely not 3rd, maybe 4th. With that, we'll leave you with this.
All right, man. Thanks for coming on the show. All right, well, next up is the man trying to keep Warren out of the championship game, Mr. Chris Peterson. Chris, I'm glad you were able to join us today.
What's up, Commish? Glad to be back. Although, I will say, I mean, it's hard to tell through this camera here, but, I mean, you look like you aged 10 years since I last saw you. What's up, man?
Yeah, man. Well, having COVID will do that to you, and so will having a 12th ranked team. But let's talk about you and your season.
Yeah. Okay. So getting back to the season here. The Wuhan Bats did pretty well. Not as good as years past. I mean, it's been a weird year, as you know. It's a lot of COVID, unexpectancies, a lot of bad injuries again. It's not fantasy football without injuries. We get that. But, you got to navigate that and hunt the waiver wire. And to be honest, we played players we've never even heard of. We've been in the league for several years now, and we're still surprised that we got to, sometimes you got to start some scrubs. But a W's a W, and here we are. We're in the playoffs now, so happy to be here.
Now, Chris, you're known around the league for your wheeling and dealing. And one of the most surprising things to me this year was that you made 0 trades. What's up with that?
Yeah, you're right, Kamish. We actually didn't make any big splashy trades this year, unfortunately. We certainly tried. We sent out plenty of some offers to other managers out there. They didn't go through for one reason or another. We're always offering good deals. It's a win-win for both parties, but just couldn't get one done this year, unfortunately. But I will say, a key to our strategy has been we've been very sneaky on the waiver wire this year. These drops of certain players on, that have been key performers on our team that maybe didn't make the cut on someone else's team. I'm looking at you, Tom, for the Ravens, and I'm looking at Warren for giving me Darius Leonard and a few other of my favorite players on my team. So props to you guys. They're trying real hard to lose this championship here, and for Tom to be snuggling up with those big old blue balls.
Now, this week you play the defending champ. You heard what he just said. Do you have anything to say?
So what do I got to say about my competition here, Warren, and the Run CMC run? Well, first of all, we humiliated him in week 5. I mean, it wasn't even a contest. His team practically rolled up and shit the bed. I mean, it was like 195 to 140. it was kind of sad, if you ask me. So I would kind of view this match as retribution for last year. As I'm sure the league is well aware, I traded away Saquon Barkley for Joe Mixon last year. And guess what? Well, Barkley led Warren's team to the championship. And so there should be an asterisk next to his name, or at least my name next to his on the title for helping him drag him across the finish line there. Well, guess what, bud? I also got pictures of the trophy, all right? So that ain't nothing special. And I expect that to be the case in 2020.
Well, great to have you join us. Any last-minute predictions or anything else you want to say?
Thanks, Commish. Good chatting with you as always. Great to be on the show, to be part of the best fantasy football league out there. It feels good to be in the playoffs. It's 2020, so literally anything could happen. Our team could blow up and, take it all the way to the chip. At the same time, half of our roster could get injured. I'm not ruling it out, but special shout out to Jack, a fellow division competitor here. His team's starting to look pretty scary with Derrick Henry really taking form and taking him into the playoffs here. So he could be a dark horse, but hopefully he rolls through the Whalers. But if I was in Chill Howie right now, I would be a little bit nervous, to be honest. So yeah, good luck, Jack, but not too much luck.
All right, everyone. Well, there you have it. The 4 playoff competitors who are making a run at the championship. Now, as you all know, a long-standing streak is coming to an end this year. In the 8-year history of the league's existence, we've never crowned a 2-time champion. Until this year. That's right, this year will mark the first time we have a 2-time champion. So who will it be? Tune in to find out. Thanks to everyone for a great season, and good luck in the playoffs.